Hey guys, it's Andrea from AndreaBaggy.com, and today I wanted to talk about 8 fun things to do the next time you're in Boulder, Colorado. So I think the first one's at the top of everybody's list because it's so Boulder, but the first thing that I always do when I go to Boulder is explore Pearl Street. Pearl Street is just a super fun area to walk around. There's like tons of restaurants and places to grab drinks and coffee shops. And then there's also some really fun shops. There's big brands like Patagonia and the North Face, like brands you'd expect to see in Colorado, but also small bookstores, and like there's even a bookstore that's attached to a coffee shop. There's always something going on Pearl Street. There could be a parade or street performers or just people out playing their guitars. It's just a hip hop and happening place. And so it's super fun to go and explore Pearl Street. I would definitely take like a morning or maybe even a full day to go and explore all that Pearl Street has to offer if you're in Boulder. The second fun thing to do is I just did this for the first time on my last trip in Boulder. We drove up Flagstaff Mountain. So this is a super fun thing to do because the drive up is already beautiful. Like it's so pretty to drive up the road, like Flagstaff Road, but it's also a really good place to go see the Indian Peaks, like with panoramic views, and you can get to them really easy. So like if you pull off on the way, there's overlooks and you just walk right out and you can see the Indian Peaks like perfectly on a clear day. So make sure you do this one on a clear day because if you can't see them, then it's not as fun. But this is something that's really fun and a really easy way to get some beautiful views of the mountains in Boulder. The third thing that I recommend you do in Boulder is a Boulder classic. It's Chautauqua Park. So Chautauqua Park kind of sits at the base of the Flatirons, and there's tons of hikes leading from there, or there's like a big open grass field area where you can, with picnic tables, so you can kind of sit down and eat lunch if you want to do that. I, of course, recommend going on a hike. There's plenty that leave from there. The first hike I want to talk about is the Royal Arch Hike. So the Royal Arch Hike is about a 3-mile loop leaving from Chautauqua. It's on all trails. It's rated difficult, but it's really not that hard. My sister and I did it last year. So there's just a few spots where you have to it's like a really steep climb. So I recommend bringing like good shoes and maybe some water and stuff. It takes about an hour, and at the end of it, you go and there's just like natural arch. It's not as cool as arches, but it's still really, really cool. So I recommend taking that hike. And then the second hike I've heard is really amazing. I've never done it, is the first and second Flatiron Loop. It's a 2.5-mile loop leaving from Chautauqua that takes you like past first and second Flatirons, and I've heard the views are amazing. All Trails also rates this one as difficult, but I've heard it's not that bad. So my friend did it and he's like, it's just a little scramble. So that one also might be a really fun one to do, and I've heard the views are amazing. I'm definitely going to try that one when I go back to Boulder the next time I'm there. The fourth really fun thing to do in Boulder is to tube Boulder Creek. So I actually have a kind of funny story about this one. Last year, my friend Angela and I visited Boulder and we were like, we're going to tube the creek, and we didn't really know where to go in, and we kind of went in like way too high and we kind of got rocked on our tubes. So I still totally recommend going. It's really, really fun. Just make sure that you're going in where other locals are and that where like the rapids don't look too intense, and you'll be totally great. It's a really fun thing to do. Boulder locals do it all the time. It's like the summer thing to do in Boulder, so I definitely recommend doing that. If it's not summer, one of my favorite things to do in Boulder is to go grab dinner from Whole Foods. They have like a salad bar that's pretty good, and so go grab dinner there out of like a little box, and then there's a whole walking path along the whole creek, like I think on both sides even. So you can go grab dinner at Whole Foods and then have like a little picnic on the side of the creek at one of the many picnic tables that there are, and that's super fun because you have like dinner with a view, and it's super inexpensive because you just got it from the Whole Foods salad bar. So this next one I researched, I haven't actually done, which I am kind of bummed about because I would love to explore the Boulder Reservoir more. I've seen it, but I've not paddleboarded on it. So something that could be really fun to do while you're in Boulder would be to paddleboard on the Boulder Reservoir. It's a beautiful reservoir, so to get to go out on it on a paddleboard would be super fun. I cannot recommend number 6 enough. So there's just south of the city, there's a state park called Dorado Canyon State Park, and this place is insanely beautiful. It's known for its rock climbing route, so when you go, there's always tons of rock climbers, which is already super fun to watch because it's just I mean, that's just so cool. Even if you don't do rock climbing, it's just fun to watch them. So there's that, and then there's a creek that rolls through it, and you can hike along the creek if you want. There's picnic tables. You can take a long hike leaving from there. It's just the prettiest park, and it's kind of hard to get to with your car. So there's not a ton of people there, which makes it like even better because there's not a ton of people there. It does cost $9 to get in, but it's totally worth it. So if you guys go, please let me know because I love this place. I have only been once, but I am dying to go back because it's so incredibly pretty. The seventh very Boulder thing to do in Boulder is to rent a bike. So I swear Boulder was built for cyclists. There are plenty of options for mountain biking, there are plenty of options for road biking, and there are sidewalks everywhere. So if you just want to bike around town or bike to your like next spot that you're going to, it's totally available to you. When it comes to renting bikes, there are like a billion shops that will rent to you. They'll rent to you mountain bikes or road bikes or whatever kind of bike you want. Or if you're just wanting to go from one spot to the other, there's buddy bikes in Boulder, which is basically just like, I don't know if you guys know what like divvy bikes are or like city bikes, but basically it's like there's a rack of bikes and you can take a bike off for paying like $1 probably, not much, and then ride it to the next rack and you can put it back on. So it's a super fun city to go and bike around. I definitely recommend biking while you're in Boulder. The eighth thing to do while you're in Boulder is to go check out a brewery. So there are tons of microbreweries in Boulder. All of them are amazing. They have super fun atmospheres and you can get like really unique beers. I definitely recommend checking out a brewery while you're there. If you want to combine this one and the last one, there's this thing called the Boulder Beer Trail. I will link it in the description, but there's like a PDF that outlines how you can bike from one brewery to the next. So that's a really fun thing to do. Definitely check out a brewery while you're in Boulder. Lastly, I wanted to share a day trip option because if you're on a trip to Boulder, you definitely can't go without taking a day trip to Estes Park. So Estes Park is only about an hour out of Boulder and there is just so much to do and explore in Estes. While you're there, I definitely recommend exploring the downtown area a little bit. There are of course some restaurants and shops and it's just a really darling mountain city. You can also get into Rocky Mountain National Park through Estes, so I definitely recommend doing that. If you only have one day there, I think the best way to see the most of Rocky Mountain National Park in the time that you have is by driving. So I would definitely spend some time just cruising around Rocky Mountain National Park, taking in all the beautiful views. If you're lucky, there might be some elk. And so I would definitely do that. One hike I do recommend you taking is the Bear Lake hike. And it's so short that it's like barely considered a hike. I think it's like not even a half mile. So you drive to Bear Lake, park your car, there's a parking lot there, and then you can walk around the lake and it's just gorgeous. It's set in with like tons of evergreen trees and mountains in the background. It's just a beautiful lake. So I definitely recommend doing that while you're in Rocky Mountain National Park. If you're planning a trip to Boulder or Estes Park, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. If you are from Boulder or Estes Park, please let me know in the comments what your favorite things to do there are. I am always trying to get back to Boulder, so if there's a new thing that I can try while I'm there, I am all ears. If you guys love this kind of content, I would really appreciate it if you liked this video and subscribed to my channel. I love talking about traveling, so if that's your thing, I would really appreciate it if you stuck around.